In part 1, I was Grace, the poor ex-wife they laughed at, the woman they thought would never rise again. But before the party, before the CEO reveal, my marriage had already started dying. Because temptation doesn't start with a kiss, it starts with attention. And that attention came on that Monday morning when the elevator doors opened and the first thing everyone saw was her heels.
You're watching African Stories That Touch.
She stepped out. Diana. She didn't rush. She didn't look around like she needed permission. She walked like the building belonged to her. Her outfit was simple but expensive. Not flashy, just powerful. Her hair was clean and sleek. Her face was calm. The kind of calm that only comes from a life where people don't tell you no. Even the men that normally formed boss lowered their shoulders. Even the women who always did "I don't care" suddenly cared. Michael swallowed. Because for the first time in his life, he saw a woman who looked like she was born into the world his mother always talked about. Peter nudged him. "Guy, see package," he whispered. Michael didn't respond. His eyes were locked. Diana's eyes scanned the office slowly. Not like she was searching, like she was measuring. Then her gaze landed on Michael. And for a second, she held it. Michael's throat went dry. Because it wasn't a normal look. It wasn't hello. It wasn't good morning. It was the kind of look that made a man feel noticed, chosen, important. Then she smiled, small, controlled, like a private greeting in public. Michael quickly looked away, embarrassed. Peter laughed quietly. "She done hook, you are ready," he teased. Michael frowned. "Shut up," he muttered. But his heart was already beating faster than normal. Later that day, she came to his desk. Michael was working when someone tapped his shoulder lightly. He looked up, and there she was, standing beside him like she belonged there. "Michael Johnson?" she asked softly. Michael blinked like he was dreaming. "Yes," he replied quickly, standing up too fast. Diana smiled politely. "Sit," she said calmly. Michael sat down slowly, his ears hot. Diana placed a file on his desk. She said, "I was told you handled the Benson account last week." Michael nodded, proud. "Yes, ma." Diana tilted her head slightly. "Ma," she repeated, amused. Michael cleared his throat. "Sorry, I mean, call me Diana." Michael hesitated. Then he said it quietly. "Diana." She nodded once. "Good," she replied. "I like confidence." Michael felt something rise in his chest. Not love, not lust. Something worse. Validation. Diana opened the file and glanced through it. Then she looked back at him. "I read your report," she said. "It was smart." Michael's chest lifted. "Thank you," he replied. Diana leaned slightly closer. "You're smarter than most people here," she added. Michael froze. Because no woman had ever spoken to him like that. Grace used to encourage him, yes. But Grace's encouragement felt like love. Diana's praise felt like status. And Michael was addicted to status. Diana straightened up and said calmly, "I'll be needing your help this week. There's a presentation on Friday." Michael's eyes widened. "My help?" "Yes," she replied. I want you on my team. Michael nodded immediately. Yes, Diana. Diana smiled slightly. Don't disappoint me. Then she turned and walked away like she hadn't just shaken his entire spirit. Michael stared after her like a man under a spell. Peter rushed over immediately. He whispered. Chairman, daughter, they talk to you like this? Michael forced a laugh. She just needs help, he replied. Peter shook his head. Guy, this one no be help na invitation. Michael frowned. Invitation to what? Peter smiled. To a better life. Michael didn't answer, but his silence said enough.
And that was the day Michael started coming home late without even knowing why. Michael didn't plan to betray me. That's the funny part. He didn't wake up one morning and decide to destroy his marriage. He only wanted to feel important, respected, seen. And Diana Williams was giving him all of that without stress. At the office, she kept him close. Not openly, not in a way that would cause gossip, but close enough to confuse him. She would call him into her office for quick meetings, ask him questions she already knew the answers to, laugh softly at jokes that weren't even funny. And every time she did, Michael's shoulders lifted higher, his voice became louder, his smile became proud. Meanwhile, my heart was quietly shrinking at home. Thursday afternoon, Michael was at his desk when Diana walked up calmly like she always did. Michael, she said softly. He looked up immediately. Yes, Diana. She placed a file on his table. The presentation is tomorrow, she said. I want us to go over it tonight. Michael blinked. Tonight? He repeated. Diana nodded like it was normal. Yes, she replied. After work. Michael hesitated for half a second because in his mind he saw me in the kitchen, cooking, waiting, trying. But before his conscience could finish speaking, his pride answered first. Okay, he said. Diana's lips curved slightly. Good, she replied. Pick me up by 7. Michael's heart jumped. Pick you up? He echoed. Diana tilted her head, amused. Unless you want my driver to bring you, she said calmly. Michael laughed nervously. No, I'll pick you up. Diana smiled. See you later. Then she walked away, and Michael sat there staring at his screen, but his mind was no longer in the office because deep down he knew the truth. This wasn't about the presentation anymore. This was about him. And temptation always starts like that. Small, normal, reasonable, until it becomes a secret. That evening, at home, I served Michael dinner like I always did. Rice and stew, his favorite. I even added extra meat because I could see the stress on his face lately. Michael ate quickly, checking the time every second, not enjoying the food, just rushing. I watched him quietly. Are you going somewhere? I asked softly. Michael didn't look up. Yes, he replied. My heart tightened. Where? I asked. He swallowed. Office, he said. We need to rehearse something for tomorrow. I blinked. By this time? I asked carefully. Michael frowned. Grace, it's work. I nodded slowly. Okay. But my voice wasn't okay. It was small, like someone trying to convince herself she wasn't being replaced. Michael stood up and picked his car keys. I followed him to the door. Not to stop him, not to fight, just to hold him for one more second. Michael, I called quietly. He turned. Yes? I asked, will you be back early? Michael sighed like I was disturbing him. He doesn't know, he replied. Then he added without thinking, stop behaving like my mother. I froze. Those words hit harder than a slap. Because I had never tried to control him. I had only tried to love him. Michael saw my face and quickly softened. I didn't mean it like that, he muttered. But the damage was already done. I forced a smile. Drive safe, I whispered. He walked out, and as the door closed behind him, I stood there staring at the empty space he left. Then I slowly walked back inside, sat on the couch, and held my chest like something inside me was cracking quietly. Diana's dinner wasn't loud. It wasn't wild. It was classy. Soft music, a private corner table. Waiters moving gently like they didn't want to disturb important people. Michael felt out of place at first. He kept adjusting his collar, kept clearing his throat, kept trying to act like he belonged in that world. Diana watched him calmly. Then she smiled. She said, "You're nervous." Michael laughed. "No, I'm not," he lied. Diana leaned forward slightly. "Relax," she said. "You're doing well." That praise again. That drug. Michael's chest lifted. He smiled. He said, "Thank you." Diana sipped her drink slowly. "So," she said, "tell me about yourself." Michael hesitated. "Myself?" "Yes," Diana replied. "Your dreams, your plans, what you want from life." Michael's eyes brightened immediately. This was his favorite topic. He started talking, and Diana listened like his words were gold. She nodded at the right moments, smiled at the right moments, made him feel like the most important man in the world. Then she asked casually, like she was just making conversation, "Are you married?" Michael's heart skipped. "Yes," he answered quickly. Diana tilted her head slightly. "Happy?" she asked softly. That question was dangerous because it wasn't a direct temptation. It was a door. And Michael opened it. He shrugged. "It's fine," he said. Diana's eyes softened like she understood. "Fine is not happy," she replied. Michael cleared his throat. "Grace is a good woman," he added quickly. "She supported me when I had nothing." Diana nodded slowly. "And now?" she asked. Michael didn't answer. Because now he didn't want to think about it. Diana smiled gently. "Sometimes," she said quietly, "when a man grows, he needs a woman who matches his new level." Michael's chest tightened. His mind flashed to me. Simple, quiet, always understanding. Then he looked at Diana. Elegant, powerful, admired. And in that moment, Michael's weakness showed itself, not in his body, in his mind. Because he started thinking, what if my mother was right? When Michael got home, the house was quiet. It was almost 11 p.m. I was on the couch, half asleep. Not because I was tired, but because I was waiting. Michael entered quietly. For a second, guilt scratched his chest. He cleared his throat. My eyes opened immediately. "You're back," I said softly. Michael nodded. "Yes." I sat up slowly. "How was work?" I asked. Michael avoided my eyes. "It was fine," he replied. I nodded. "Okay." Then I stood up and walked toward the bedroom without another word. Michael followed behind me. Inside the room, I sat on the bed and removed my scarf quietly. Michael sat beside me. He wanted to say something kind, something that would erase the distance between us. But instead, he said the worst thing. "You don't have to wait up for me," he muttered. I froze. Then I turned slowly. "I wasn't waiting to control you," I said softly. "I was waiting because you're my husband." Michael sighed loudly. "Grace, you're too emotional." I stared at him.
Emotional, I repeated, almost whispering. Michael shook his head. You're always asking questions, always looking sad, always acting like I'm doing something wrong. My throat tightened. I'm not acting, I said quietly. I'm feeling. Michael stood up suddenly. Good night, he muttered, and turned away. I watched him lie down, watched him turn his back to me, and something inside me finally broke. Not with shouting, not with drama, just with a quiet tear sliding down my cheek in silence. The betrayal didn't start with cheating. It started with Michael choosing another woman's world over his wife. Michael didn't plan to cheat. That's what made it worse. Because the most dangerous betrayals are not planned. They happen when someone keeps opening doors they should have locked. At first, it was work. Then it became late meetings. Then it became, don't ask me too many questions. And before Michael knew it, he wasn't protecting his marriage anymore. He was protecting a secret. Diana walked up to Michael's desk around 6:30 p.m. Her voice was calm, like she wasn't about to shake a man's entire life. Michael, she said softly. Michael looked up quickly. Yes, Diana? Diana placed her laptop bag on the desk. I want us to rehearse somewhere quiet. The lounge upstairs is empty. Michael blinked. The lounge? Diana nodded. Yes, she replied. It's private, no distractions. Private, no distractions. Michael swallowed hard. His chest tightened for a second because his conscience was trying to warn him. But his pride replied faster. Okay, he said. Diana smiled slightly. Good. Then she walked ahead, and Michael followed, like a man following his own temptation. The lounge upstairs was too quiet. Soft lights, cold air, a long glass table, and silence. The kind of silence that makes people say things they shouldn't say. Diana sat across from Michael and opened her laptop. She said, Start from slide 1. Michael began. He spoke well. He was sharp, and Diana listened like a queen judging her soldier. Halfway through, she leaned back slowly. You're good, she said. Michael smiled. Thank you. Diana's eyes stayed on his. You're not just good, she added softly. You're special. Michael froze, because men like Michael don't forget the first time a powerful woman makes them feel chosen. Diana closed her laptop gently. Then she asked the question that always destroys a home. Does your wife understand you? Michael's smile faded. He should have defended me immediately. He should have said, my wife is my backbone. But instead, he sighed. She tries, he muttered. Diana nodded like she understood. Trying is not the same as matching, she replied. Michael swallowed hard. Diana stood up and walked around the table slowly. Not rushing, not seducing, just moving close enough to confuse his brain. She stopped beside him, not touching, just close. Then she whispered, Michael, you deserve a woman who will grow with you. Michael looked up at her. His breathing changed. His heart was beating too fast. Because the truth was, Diana didn't need to remove clothes to tempt him. She only needed to remove his dignity. Diana gently placed her hand on his shoulder. One simple touch, just one, and Michael's hand moved without permission. He held her wrist, not forcefully, just stopping her from leaving. Diana looked down at his hand. Then she looked at his face. "Michael," she whispered. That whisper sounded like permission. Michael stood up. Now they were too close to think, too close to turn back. He leaned forward and kissed her. It wasn't long, it wasn't wild, but it was betrayal. The kiss was a mistake. What Michael does next is a choice. And in part 3, Grace will look him in the eyes and ask a question he is not ready to answer.